This conference will now be recorded.
Let me switch it to your workspace. Right. So yesterday we discussed about Java related concept about methods, right? Now here today what we will do is how to handle alerts in Selenium point of view, Selenium scenario, how to handle alerts. Now see. Now see, so far you are working with in the page level. In the page level, if you are trying to handle any elements, you are trying to first find out the element and you are performing the action. See, as part of your automation on the application point of view, you are going to get some kind of alerts, or you are going to travel from one page to another page, and there may be a section called frames. So you need to handle different things other than page. So how will you handle it in your automation? So today we will see about how to handle alerts concept. See, generally, whenever you try to interact with any web application, sometimes without providing some mandatory fields, if you're trying to submit some action or if you're trying to do some action without performing some mandatory actions, you are trying to submit on the application, what will happen? You are getting a kind of dialogue. The dialogue which gives the information, okay, hey, you did some missing, you did some action, please provide this information. Like that, it is going to give you the information. Let's say take Rediff mail application. Sorry, Rediff Rediff application. Just a second.
This conference will now be recorded.
Rediff.com. Okay. So in the Rediff.com, oh, see, there is a sign in. So this is Rediff mail. Username, password. There are two things are there. Okay. There are two things are there. Username and password. Without giving username and password, let's say if you try to click on sign in button. Now see, there is a dialog which is showing. There is a dialog which is showing, please enter a valid username. That means without providing mandatory information, you are trying to do some actions. Okay, you please first you do that. So that is information which is providing to the client. Now see, this type of dialogues are going to show by the JavaScript. This is called alert. Normally, the alerts are implemented using JavaScript. Normally, the alerts are implementing using JavaScript. Okay. So what is the use of these alerts? The alerts are going to be useful for client and server side validations. The developers, they are implementing using JavaScript. The developers, whoever is implementing these websites or web pages, they are trying to implement using JavaScript. Okay. So now the question is, as part of automation, if you are getting this type of dialogues, how will you get it? Or how will you handle it? As part of our automation, if you are getting this type of alerts, how will you handle it? Okay. So normally, when you try to find out the element, what will you do? Whatever the element you are trying to find out, right click on the element and you will inspect the element and get the element information and try to find out. So that is how you will do it. But if you want to find out these alerts, inspect option will not work. If you want to inspect, see, normally just press F12. See, whenever once again, right click, inspect. So whenever you try to find out, right click, inspect. That is what you will do it. Now let's say sign in, and this is, there is a symbol called arrow symbol at the leftmost. Click here and you can identify. Right click. Okay. Now see, since there is alert is there, that's why it is unable to inspect. Normally, now see, just click on this arrow symbol and you are able to highlight like this. Click on arrow symbol, you can highlight anything. But if something is alert is there, then this inspect, it will not work. Simple way to identify whether it is JavaScript alert or not. Nowadays there are different dialogues are showing in this way. Nowadays, with the latest technologies, the developers are developing the dialogues like this. If it is JavaScript alert, the inspect option, whenever you try to find out this inspect option, it will not work. Simple thing. If it is able to identify it, then it is not a JavaScript alert. It is normal. So such type of dialogues are called bootstrapped dialogues. Such type of dialogues are called bootstrap dialogues. That bootstrap dialogues and all, you can find out easy way. Just right click, inspect the element, and you can perform whatever you want. But this JavaScript alert, if it is there, then at that time this inspect, it will not work. So this is the simple way to identify it. Okay, so please enter a valid username. Like that, you are getting the dialog. So till you handle it, you can't proceed further. So if you are getting the alerts, JavaScript alerts, so how will you handle it? Okay, so that we will see. Right click and handle alerts. So without time wasting, right. So take this website. So click on go button. Driver dot final driver dot. So let us click on sign in button. Yeah, I can find out with name. By dot name, proceed, then dot click, then that is click. Now see, you are trying to click on sign in button. You are trying to click on sign in button. After clicking on sign in button, you know that there is pop-up. That means this alert is coming. But without handling that pop-up, you are trying to close the application. Now see, you will get unhandled alert exception because you did not handle the alert. And what is the alert message? That also it will display. Without handling the alert, you are trying to close the application. So it will not allow you to close the application. Now see, line number 24, unhandled alert exception. And what is that? Please enter a valid username. So that is the alert message. Line number 24. So here it's unable to close the application. Right. So how to close the application or how to handle the alert? So far you are working in the page level, in the single page. I mean, in the page, you are able to handle the elements. But now you are getting the alert. So when you want to handle the alert, what you need to do is, you need to switch your focus from the page to alert. See, in the user's perspective, it is the alert which is present on the page. But internally, when you're trying to work with, or when you're working with automation, there is a separate concept to handle the alerts. So you need to switch your focus from the page to alert. So how will you switch? So you will write like this: driver dot, to switch your focus, we need to use switch to. There is a, to switch your focus, there is a method called switch to. And here we are working with alert. So we are using alert. Driver dot switch to dot alert. So this is the statement. It will, you have to write. So what it returns? It returns something like alert. Programmatically, it returns alert here. Okay, driver dot switch to dot alert. So what this statement it is doing? The statement is switching your focus to the alert. Switching your focus to the alert if it is existed. See, if there is alert is present on the page, then after writing this statement, that means after it is executing, the focus is jumped to the alert. If not, it will be there on the page only. The switching your focus to the alert if it is existed. Okay. If alert is there, generally in the alert, either OK or cancel. There are two buttons will be appearing. Sometimes you will see both the buttons on the alert. So when you want to handle either OK or cancel, they provided a method called accept. This accept method, it will click on OK button. There is a method called dismiss. Click on cancel. The conceptually, they provided two methods. One is accept, the second one is dismiss. Accept is for clicking on OK. Dismiss is for clicking on cancel. But if there is only one button, you can use either accept or dismiss. In the alert, if there is only one button, you can use either accept or dismiss. Both the things it will work. Let us see it practically. And see, to get the text of the alert, get text. To get the text of the alert, get text. Okay. So now here, after clicking, right, driver dot switch it to dot, there is a method called alert. So here what it returns alert, it returns something like alert in here. Now this alert is implemented by Selenium peoples. Okay, and now to get the text of the element, to get the text of the alert. So what is the alert message? Al dot, there is message get text. Al dot get text. And now on the alert there is OK button. So to click on OK button. Al dot, there is method method called accept. There is method called accept. Okay. So now let us run the program. Now see, this is alert message. Please enter a valid user. So what this message it will do, if alert is existed, focus will be on the alert. Driver dot switch it to dot alert. The focus will be jump to the alert. Next, al dot, there is a method called dismiss. This is for normally to click on cancel. But since there is only one button is there on the alert, so this dismiss also it will work. Perfect. It's a simple concept, but now this is a very simple question, but it's a tricky answer. Now the question is, how will you check whether alert is there or not? How to check whether alert is there or not? Normally here what we are doing, after clicking on sign in button, there is alert, and if there is alert and we are handling this. But before that, I want you to check whether alert is there or not. In WebDriver, there is no method called is alert present or not. There is no such kind of method. The WebDriver guys, they did not implement such kind of method. As an automation engineer, you need to implement the program. How will you implement it? It's a simple. What I'll do is, I'll try to implement another method. I'll try to implement another method. That method which is using to check whether alert is there or not. If alert is present, it will return true, else return false. Right. So what I'm doing, public boolean. Let's say there is a method called is alert present. There is a method called is alert present. Right. So finally, it has to return either true or false. Okay. Now, what is the message you need to use? Driver dot switch to dot alert. So what this statement it is doing? If alert is existed, the focus will be on the alert. So if alert is there, it returns true. Else return false. Else return false. So what I'll do is I'll try to put it in the try block. So don't worry. To handle the exceptions, there are two ways. One is you can throw it. That is what we are doing it using thread.sleep. When you are writing thread.sleep, because of this statement, you may get the exception. So when you are getting the exception, whether you want to handle it or you want to throw it. So now in this situation, we are not handling it. So we are throwing it. So that's why we are using this throws. This is one way. And the second way is when you want to handle it, we are going to use try catch block. As a programmer, if you are getting any exception at that time, if you want to handle it, we are going to use try catch. So catch. So in Java, let's say what is the message? Get message. So here I'm trying to return true. So using try catch block, I'm handling it. So because of this code, suppose if you are getting any exception, that it is going to catch in the catch block. And in the catch block, you handle what is the message you are getting it. And after that, the code will be proceed further. Normally, whenever you try to get any exception, the program will stop at that line. So without stopping it, we are using this try catch block. Okay. So anyway, we will discuss it in the exception handling concept. So by default, it will return false because that means there is no exception. There is no exception. But why you are getting the compilation issue on the driver? Driver cannot be resolved. Now see, you defined a driver under main method, but you are trying to use the same variable name under another method. But normally, once you define any variable, the scope is limited to within the method that we already discussed. Local variables. Local variable means the scope is limited to up to the methods. Once you come out of that method, the scope is gone. So if you want to make the scope for the entire class, you have to declare these variables inside the class. So that means it is acting as global level. It is acting as global level. So what you can do is declare the variable outside instead of writing like this. Now here there is a static, but you define the driver is of Chrome driver, okay, but it should be like static type. Then it will work. So I told you, if you want to use something within the static, the variable also like static type. Now Chrome, you declare driver of Chrome driver type, it's okay. But what type it is? If it is a static, then only it is going to allow. Otherwise, it is not going to allow. So if you want to access something within the static, either variables or methods, everything should be like static type. Then only it is going to allow. Suppose if you did not mention static, what will happen? Now see, cannot make a static reference to the non-static field driver. So you cannot put non-static type in the static type. Right now, the driver is of what type? Non-static type. But you are trying to access in the where? Static type. Why? Because main is the method. Main method is of type static type. So you cannot use the non-static related things in the static. Okay. So now what you have to do? Change the driver to static. Now you declare at the class level. That means inside the class. So the scope is applicable for entire class. So that means you can use this driver in all the methods under this class. Now it is working fine. So this is a method. This is another method. So finally, once this method gets executed, either it will return true or false. So let us check. If now see, this is alert present is of what type? Non-static type. But you are checking where? Under static, because main method is static. So there are two ways. Change this method to static, or you need to create an object of this class. You need to create an object of the class. So what I'll do is I'll try to create an object. Create an object for the which class? Handle alert class. Uh, handle alerts. HA is equal to new handle alerts. If HA dot is alert present, because is alert present is of what type? Non-static type. So if you want to access non-static in the static, there are two ways. One is change it to static, that is one way. And the second one is you need to create an object of the class. So that is what we are doing. The second one we are doing right. Okay. So suppose if alert is present, it will return either true or false. So if it is written true, then go and handle it. Else, alert is not present. Okay, I don't require this else statement. So what I'll do is here itself I'll try to verify. So first let us check. I'll write one statement. Alert is present. Alert is present. Right click, run as Java application. Now see, it returns true. Alert is present once it is executed. That's why it is coming inside and it is showing alert is present. Let us verify after clicking on OK button, there is no alert. So when you are executing this method, is alert present? At that time, it has to return false. Let us check. Boolean status. So let us print alert status. So at that time, here you should give, it should give false. Because after clicking on the OK button, there is no alert. So if you're trying to verify whether alert is there or not, then it should give there is no alert. Like that, it has to give the message. Now in this case, you should get false. Right click, Java application. Now see, alert status is false. Okay. So in interview point of view, they'll ask, can you write the code to check whether alert is there or not? It's a simple only, but it's a tricky interview question. Because there is no method called is alert present for to verify whether alert is there or not. So at the time you have to implement the code, and that method it will return Boolean type, either true or false. So this is the way you need to handle the alerts. Yeah. Any doubts?
No doubts.
Yeah. Others?
No.
Is it is it same as Windows application, like Windows application if we handle, we get some alerts. Is it the same way we handle it, or is it something different method we have to use?
First of all, Selenium is not going to handle the Windows related dialogues. Remember that point. Because Selenium automates browsers. Suppose if there is such kind of window alerts are coming, then to handle Windows related objects, we are going to use some third-party tool called Seculi. So that we are going to discuss it after. I mean, in the coming
Okay.
session, we are going to discuss it.
Okay.
Okay. So this is the alerts which are all implemented by JavaScript. So these alerts are implementing for validations point of view in the client and server side point. So this is web related application. It's not related to Windows. If you want to handle Windows related, we are going to use some third party tool called SQL. Okay, right. Let's say there is a simple scenario, attach file. How will you attach the file? Right. Upload file. Right. Wait for 5 seconds. That sleep. 5 seconds. Close. I wanted close. Now here, just throw it. Now see, this is file upload. Assuming that there is a dialog or there is a file which is present in the desktop. I want to attach this file. Normally, to handle this objects which are all present in the desktop or Windows related objects, the Selenium is not going to handle it. So to handle this Windows and desktop related objects, we are going to use some third party tool called Seculi. But without using Seculi also, this attaching a file scenario that we can handle it. See, after clicking on sign in button, after clicking on choose file button, actually this dialog is appearing. Actually this dialog, it is not related to web. So that's why Selenium is not going to handle this elements, this kind of dialogues. This is related to Windows dialog. Okay. So to handle this kind of scenarios, we are using third-party tool called SQL. Okay. But this scenario, choose file, inspect. Now see the element information which is containing there is an attribute called type is equal to file. If the upload button, if the choose file button is containing an attribute called type is equal to file, type is equal to file. If the attribute contains type, if the type is equal to file, then we can use send keys method. Using send keys, we can upload the file when if the browser button contains, if the browse button or if the choose file button contains type is equal to file. Okay, right. Upload file using send keys. So driver dot find element by dot id. id is my file. And then send keys. Here provide the path. Go to properties. Sample.txt. Let us run. Now see sample.txt is uploaded. Without using some third-party tool, we are attaching the file. How it is possible? The browser button contains the attribute called type. Type is equal to file. If type is equal to file, then we can use send case method. In general, to handle this Windows object, the Selenium is not going to handle it. Okay. Right? Yeah. So tomorrow we will discuss it about how to handle multiple pages.
Hmm. So only when the type is equal to file, we have to use the send keys method, is it?
We can use the send case. Using send case, we can do that without using some third party tool.
Okay.
Okay. So in the tomorrow section, we will talk about how to handle pages. So far you are working in the single page, but how will you work with multiple pages? I mean, when you have like 2 pages, how will you handle it? Okay. So that means you need to switch your focus from one place to another place, like what we did for alerts.
Okay.
Thank you.